Wow, sure looks like fun, right? A lot of people are really into this kind of thing, and who knows, you could be one of them. Is this your idea of a cool way to get crazy and have a good time?
If it is, well, it's sad to say it, but if you ride like this, then maybe you're just not very bright. And the meaning of the letters ATV could change for you, just like that. Since 1990, more than 200 people have died in ATV crashes in West Virginia. A quarter of those killed have been kids under the age of 17, and frequently the casualties are children under 12. 80% of the victims were male. West Virginia has the highest ATV-related death rate in all of the 50 states. Although West Virginia's steep terrain has likely contributed to many of these crashes, the riders' poor decisions are often the cause of disaster. For example, about 1/3 of the crashes have occurred on paved surfaces where ATVs are not even supposed to be used. Also, about 15% of West Virginia's victims were riding as passengers when the crash occurred. As many as 3 or 4 people have been on a vehicle that was involved in a fatal wreck. Recreational ATVs are not designed to carry passengers. However, in West Virginia, it happens all the time. A child as young as 18 months riding in an adult's lap was killed when the ATV crashed, hurtling the baby to the ground. Passengers are often crushed by the ATV itself, which can weigh over 500 pounds. Nearly 2/3 of fatal injuries received in ATV crashes involve the head and neck. There's a lot of scientific evidence to prove that helmets save lives and reduce the severity of injuries. But West Virginia is just one of 7 states that has no helmet requirement. In fact, West Virginia has no regulations controlling ATV use at all. Research at West Virginia University has shown that states with helmet and age requirements for ATV operation have death rates that are 50% less in ATV crashes than the West Virginia death rate. It's easy to see that your chances of surviving a wreck are significantly improved if you just wear a helmet.
Jessica Adams was a happy and beautiful 13-year-old girl. She enjoyed dancing and cheerleading like most girls her age. As the sun was setting on a lovely day in September, Jessica was riding as a passenger on an ATV driven by her 14-year-old friend, Crystal. They were flying too fast down a paved road, not far from Jessica's home. No one had a helmet. The ATV went out of control and crashed into a tree. Despite terrible injuries, Crystal survived, but Jessica died within hours. Jessica's sister has to deal with the consequences of the accident every day.
Jessica was my little sister, and we were extremely close. And it just takes all I have to go to her grave for one day. The reality doesn't settle in until you go there and you see her name on a stone. Or, I mean, at home, I look at her pictures and I talk to her pictures because I can't talk to her anymore. So I really can't even look at an ATV now. I don't necessarily want to blame my sister's accident on them, but I certainly understand the dangers of them now more than anyone should have to understand the dangers. All I really want is for the governors to pass a law, a bill in my sister's honor or in another child's honor, because she is one of the many teenagers who have died on ATVs for years now, not just recently. And I would just really like some kind of regulations, some regulations with helmets or something about underage kids. And it really, really doesn't hit you until a long time afterward. Like even though you go through the funeral, you go through the entire mess, but it honestly doesn't settle in for so long. It still hits you, and it's just so hard to believe. It just takes a very long time.
Now that we've seen some of the ugly things that can happen when an ATV is used in a foolish way, let's turn to a certified ATV trainer who can show us how to use one of these machines safely.
Hi, I'm Doug Morris, the director of the All-Terrain Vehicle Association. I'm also a licensed chief instructor for the ATV Safety Institute, and we're here today to talk about some essential ATV safety. One of the first things I think we should talk about when it comes to safety is helmets. And when it comes to helmets, there's a lot of choices out there, and one of the first things you should do is make sure the helmet's got a minimum Department of Transportation or DOT approval. You want one that fits snugly but not too tight, because if it's too tight, it's going to be uncomfortable and you're not going to wear it. So with the chin strap fastened securely, you want to make sure that it's snug on your head. You don't want it bouncing around. You can't have a helmet that's too loose. If it just bounces around on your head, it's not going to do you any good. For the riders that are going to be riding more aggressively or want additional protection, you've got a full-faced helmet. And this is for the rider that's either going to be more aggressive or just wants the ultimate protection. With the addition of the full face piece here in the front, it just gives you the maximum amount of protection that you would want from a helmet. In addition to a helmet, we also feel it's important to protect your eyes. And a good set of goggles is probably one of the best things you can do for eye protection. The addition of the foam seal on the goggles allows them to seal around your face, and not only does it protect your eyes from direct impact from objects, but it also, the seal keeps out the dust and any kind of debris that could possibly be blowing around. For those of you that are eyeglass wearers and are concerned about goggles, they make them extra thick so they fit right over your glasses with no problem. Protecting your eyes is very important, but probably the ultimate to protect is your head. And we just wouldn't get on an ATV, even in your own backyard, without your helmet. Helmet has got to be the most important piece of safety equipment that you can ever wear. Another thing that's important are your gloves. The good thing about gloves is when you're riding through the brush or the briars or the stickers or what have you, you can keep your hands on the handlebars, and as the brush goes by, you won't be removing your hand because you're afraid of getting scratched or cut. When it comes to footwear, tennis shoes just really aren't adequate. They don't give you any support for your ankles, and when the soles get wet, they do slip around on the foot pegs or the floorboards. Something better would be some sort of a boot that is going to give you some protection for your ankle. Also, the lug sole is not going to slip around on the footrest, or it's not going to slide around on the floorboards. If you want to go to the ultimate in protection, you could go to an off-road type boot or a motocross style boot, which really would give you the ultimate in protection for your feet. Good sturdy long sleeve and also long pants are also important. ATVs are not designed to be used on pavement. ATV tires come with a rounded profile and large aggressive tread. This large aggressive tread, along with the shape of the tire, works real good in an off-road condition. But when you get on the highway, these actually can work against you. The rubber compound on the tires is really soft. You combine this soft aggressive tread, and where you might slide or might take a gentle turn in the dirt, on the pavement it's going to turn much quicker than you're used to in an off-road situation. And what this is going to lead to is the possibility of tipping or actually rolling your ATV. ATVs are not designed to carry passengers. I can't think of any situation where you really need to be carrying a passenger. ATVs are for the operator only. So what are some of the reasons why you shouldn't carry a passenger? The biggest thing, an ATV, you need to be rider active. That means you need to be able to move around on the ATV. If you place a passenger behind you or in front of you, you severely limit your ability to properly move your weight around so that you can control the ATV. If you've got a rider on the back of the ATV and you approach a hill, the rider may not be paying attention. They start to lean backwards, they reach forward to grab you so that they don't fall off. They pull the driver back, so now you've got twice the weight on the rear that was never designed for, and this is where you've got the ATV flipping over. ATVs are not designed to carry passengers. Drinking and riding just don't mix. We've all heard and read the statistics about drunken driving on the highway in cars. We've got similar statistics when it comes to drinking and riding. Riding an ATV and drinking just don't mix. Now what we need to do is we need to talk about kids in ATVs. Matter of fact, we're going to talk about something you should probably never do. And that is, this young man has no business riding this ATV, and we're going to show you why. One of the first things that's important about riding an ATV is to be able to be rider active. You need to be able to stand on the foot pegs or the floorboards to give yourself some clearance between yourself and the seat. This rider's feet don't even reach the floorboards. He has no business riding the ATV. In addition to being the proper height to be able to reach the floorboards, you also need to be able to reach the handlebars so that you can safely control the ATV. If you were riding down the trail and you were going to make a turn, as you started to make a left-hand turn, the rider should lean to the inside. The problem with this child, his arms are so short and he's so small that when he leans to the inside to maintain balance, his hand actually comes off the handlebars. So if he tries to maintain control by keeping both hands on the handlebars, starts to make that same turn, the problem now, the handlebars actually pulls him out of position. What this is the reason this is a problem, because now you've got the weight on the outside of the turn, the ATV is unbalanced, and you've got the possibility of the ATV either tipping or rolling over. A child this size should never be riding an ATV this large. Today we've talked about some very basic safety techniques, and this is not designed to be an ATV safety course. This is just to make you aware of some of the things you can do to help yourself ride a little safer. We recommend that everybody should take a hands-on rider course. And if you're interested in taking the ATV Safety Institute ATV rider course, you can call 1-800-887-2887. Riding ATVs is fun, and we want you to continue having that fun. You just got to do a few simple things. Ride safe when you're on the trails, wear all the proper gear, and you'll be out riding for a long time. So please, everybody, be safe out there.
Another young lady with first-hand experience of an ATV disaster is 17-year-old Constance Brown. She was riding with her best friend Megan as a passenger when their ATV overturned. She's very fortunate to be alive and to be able to tell her story.
Megan's my best friend, and we decided to get on my Polaris. I was driving. We were going to the Newburgh Dam from the ball field, and I don't remember a lot, but we were coming through here, and Megan said, "Constance, turn the wheel," and I couldn't, and I told her that. And we hit and landed in a creek, and the next thing I knew, I woke up and Megan was laying there, and I tried to pick her up, and she had blood down her face. I thought for sure Megan was dead, and I started to cry, and everything just went black. It scared me. I screamed. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't see. I could hear, but I couldn't see. My neck was, I thought my neck was broke, my shoulder. I didn't think I was gonna live. And the only thing that was running through my head was, I'm not gonna see again, Megan's dead. You know, what am I gonna do? When I got my sight back, I was in the helicopter. It was a relief, because I could see again, but I was in a helicopter and I was afraid to fly. So I kind of shut my eyes back and just relaxed. But to be able to see again it was amazing, because I was so afraid that I was never gonna see again. When I got to the hospital, the only thing that it gave me a concussion, and I got road rash on my side, my arm, my ear, and black in my eye. But other than that, I'm good, which is, I'm lucky. You never know. You know, I didn't wear my helmet, I didn't think anything was gonna happen, you know, it never happened to me. And it did. I thought I was gonna die. And it was the scariest thing in the world. And to have my best friend laying there beside me, bleeding, not knowing that she was gonna live or not, it's a wake-up call. So I don't think that you should double ride, and I think that you should wear your helmet if you're going to get on it, and go slow and safe. It's the scariest thing in the world when you do land and you're knocked out and you don't know what's going on, and especially to have your best friend with you, not knowing that if she's dead or alive. Just be careful, because it can happen to you.
Probably no one sees the consequences of ATV accidents as clearly as Dr. Bill Rose. Here at the Ruby Memorial Emergency Department, Dr. Rose has to deal with these disasters nearly every day.
I've just finished a 10-hour shift here in the emergency department, and I've got to say that I'm sick and tired of looking at the results of ATV wrecks. I get at least one victim on every shift. I see broken collarbones, dislocated shoulders, broken arms and wrists, and what's worse, devastating neck and spine injuries. The number of these disasters is skyrocketing, and after seeing this every day, I wouldn't even consider getting on one of these deathmobiles. I can't outlaw ATVs, and I can't stop people from using them. But I'm warning you here and now, these machines are extremely dangerous. If you ride one, you'd better watch what you're doing. And believe me, I'm not kidding. These things are not toys. So please, whatever you do, never let a child use one as a toy. So often I've seen that lead to the worst possible outcome, the death of an innocent child. Anyway, I've got to get home and get a little rest for my next shift. Please be careful. Otherwise, you know, we could be meeting under unfortunate circumstances.
I don't want to give you the wrong idea about ATVs. They can be ridden safely. But to make them safe, you have to use them the way they were designed to be used. So here it is. I'm going to say this one more time. Please listen. No more riding on paved surfaces. You've seen what that can lead to. No passengers. You've got to know how foolish that is. And finally, wear your helmet. Now, how simple is that? It's time for everyone to wise up about the proper use of ATVs. Do it now before it's too late, and you or someone you know becomes another tragic victim.